Arr, welcome back to the shop. I'm Jason, and today we're working on the pirate car. We're both one-eyed sailors with nowhere to go.
Well, that was kind of fun as an intro.
Today, I'm gonna give it a try replacing this headlight lens. These lenses aren't supposed to be removed or removable, so we're gonna have to do some cutting, a little bit of baking, and a whole lot of crossing our fingers to make sure we can get this thing to work. Let's jump right into getting this bad boy out of here. To kick things off, we gotta get the tire off because we're gonna be pulling our exterior fender trim and our interior fender liner in order to get at the back of our bolts. We're also going to have to pull our lower bumper trim here and then unbolt our fender to be able to kind of peel it out of the way. To get us rolling, we gotta push all these blind rivets out here. We're gonna take off our screws here in the corner and then down along the bottom of the bumper. That way we can disconnect this side of the bumper. Then we'll start pulling all the infinity number of screws on this inner fender liner in here. All these screws in here are 8mm, well as down underneath here. To get our blind rivets out, I like to use a punch. Sometimes you gotta hammer a little harder than others. I'm gonna get a hammer. It's like my punch is a little too sharp. I'll try, there we go, that worked better. Now remember, before you do this job, you're gonna need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of these blind rivets. Sadly, they're not reusable. Helps if you actually hit the hammer. Okay, and then around the outside, you have little plastic push pins. I like to hit those with a little bit of silicone dry lube first before I start prying on them. It helps them to slip out easier. Be careful with any lube staining your old plastic. I'm gonna attempt to restore all the plastic on this car at a later date, so I'm not totally worried about it, but it can't hurt to just wipe some of the excess off with a nice greasy towel like what I have here. And then we're gonna be pulling and trying to just work it out like so. Take your time with this because these cars are getting a little older now. You can see there's our plastic clips that we're holding into the bumper here, or the fender liner. And by shooting that little bit of lube in there, trust me, it makes it a lot easier to get those guys out. Now our inner fender liner is separated into two sections. You've got a front and a rear section, and they connect right here up in the middle. So we can just work our way around, pulling all our screws out. We got here, and a couple little rivets pushing down in here. Take your time with this and you'll keep finding more screws and more rivets as you go. Center splash panel is also got your quarter turn screw there in the middle in the way. Might make sense to just pop the panel off. Now we've got good access to the back of our headlight, but she's still stuck in there because of the fender. So we got to do a little bit more work here. There's a screw up at the top here. That looks like an 8. You got a T30 in the bottom, another 8 right here, another 8 all the way at the front over here. And I don't see anything else hiding up in there. We've got the harness right here on the bottom. We can get to that. I think if we disconnect this mount to the fender right here, that will give us a little bit of wiggle room to move stuff around. Let's give this a shot. I'm gonna go for that T30 in the middle first. Oh, how about that 8 all the way at the front? Very coarse thread on that one, and a bit longer of a bolt. This one looks long as well. Another long one, same bolt. Ah, there's another one all the way up in the corner here that I couldn't feel, or I can't see, but I can feel it up there. All the way up back there. There's another one. Okay, so they got 4 of these long ones that are 8s and 1 T30 in the middle. Oh, that's it. Now this whole thing moves. Let's get this harness disconnected. So a little trick with large connectors like this, I was just explaining this to my dad while he was working on his car. Sometimes it helps if you tighten the connector or push it in a little bit further and then try to release it. As in this case, that worked much better than just trying to pull those pins. Came right out after that. There's our big connector, full of dust. Go to the top, see what we can see. The light is certainly loose. it's not going to come out of this opening. So there's an 8mm here, some T30s up here. Let's see if we can move the top of the fender around at all to make some room. Yeah, that didn't really do it right there. All right, well, let's take all of the bolts out, or the screws here, for our front lower bumper. These are all 8s as well. We've got those 2 in the corner down over here, and 2 down on the bottom. Now we've got little points where they pop in, just like our side fender liners. The PDC harness is on this side, so with your fender liner out, it's a lot easier to get to. You can see there's a plastic clip. So let's see, there should be one right here and one right there. Sometimes, if they're being stubborn, you can gently pry in between there, try to get to them. Really, you'd want like some sort of a credit card tool for this. That way you're not damaging any of the plastic. There we go. Well, I haven't found any magic way to get this out, so we're gonna have to go with what the instructions say. There's a diagonal brace here with a bolt on the bottom and a nut on the top, and then back behind it, there is a T30 that we need to get to, as well as the 3 T30s up on the fender, and then 1 T30 around in the corner holding the bracket in place. There's this big relay block back here that's in the way. So here's where I'm at off camera. I just started unscrewing things until I could figure out how to get this big bracket off of the bottom. And I think maybe that's gonna give me enough room to get past this upper bracket up here that's hitting the washer tank and getting in the way. Well, there's certainly a lot more movement there now. If that bracket can come out. Sure feels like this should be able to come out. Oh, there's a sensor on there. This looks like this is an airbag sensor or a yaw sensor or something. That's why it wouldn't come out. Ah, who needs airbags? Oh, would you look at that? All you gotta do is disassemble the whole damn front end. No big deal. This big old bracket here, this was the key to getting it out. All these damn screws are Loctited too. Man, that was a sucker. But here we are. Get on to the actual project. Well, now we can move on to the fun part, and that is trying to extract the lens off of the front. On the back of the housing in the 2 corners, there are T15 safety torques that we're gonna have to pull off. And then when you're looking around the lens, you're gonna see what looks like other screws. Those screws are from the inside, and they're holding this reflector or trim piece on the inside, and they're gonna be on the top and the bottom here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start by cutting off my little, so I'll just break these straight off, our little hold down tabs all the way around, just so that if there's any potential release pressure, just let that go for now. Wow, these are really brittle. So these are safety torques. I'm not planning to use a liquid glue. I'm planning to use butyl rope, like what the retrofit store sells. And a diamond wheel, bent diamond wheel, dang it. Just straighten that out a little. And I'm gonna give myself a little bit of space. I don't wanna cut into this trim piece down underneath, so if I have to cut multiple times to get around this thing, that'll be fine. Definitely watch yourself at the top of the lens here. That bottom piece inside is really close. There it is. Yeah, we're full of plastic. Yay. I'm not very patient. I've spent a couple minutes heating this corner and prying on it, and I'm not really feeling like I'm getting anywhere. I'll disassemble this sucker and stick it in the oven, see what happens. This braided cable, the module here on the bottom. There we go. Not sure if that's how it came apart, but that's how it came apart for me. Whoops, circuit board, like a little puzzle. This must be the headlight driver. Yeah, that's the xenon module. Don't touch your bulb. Not a whole lot else you can take apart unless I go and unscrew everything down under here, but this shroud is going to be in the way of taking the reflectors out. It looks like dust got in there anyhow, so I'm going to need to clean all that up. Well, let's barbecue us some headlight. I'm going to set my timer for 7 minutes, and I'm baking at 225. Well, 7 minutes at 225, the housing is hot, but it didn't net me any pliability with this guy. I think I'm gonna try taking it apart a little bit more. I'll cut around right here where the screws are holding all of this stuff together and see if maybe I can get underneath sealant, pry up that way. I was able to use my little screwdriver here to cut through the sealant really easy over here with it warm. You know, feeling it, it's still pretty hard. So, plan B. More cutting, but I'm gonna move these electronics before I get to that point. Well, after a whole lot more fighting, I got this top piece out. There was glue stuck to it all along here, which made it very difficult to get out. So what I wound up doing was using a razor blade to trim across there. I'm gonna go ahead and pull out my reflectors. Just try to make it so I have more access in here. This would be a great time if you were going to upgrade or customize your lights to get that done. I just want to be able to see out of my lights for now. Well, now there's not much left in the housing. Just dust and debris and one adjustment motor. It's the height adjustment. What the hell? Let's throw it back in the oven, see what happens. Ooh, it's warm in here. See if we have any better luck this time. Well, it's certainly hot and pliable. But it's still not coming out. I think we're gonna have to just get behind it. There we go. Now it's peeling out. Sort of. Back down to this corner. Oh, that's nice. Oh man. Well, it's off. Combination of breaking off 1,000 little pieces, some bigger pieces, in the oven, out of the oven, in the oven, out of the oven, heat gun, and it's done. Now, I have to go through the process of trying to scrape this glue out of here. For the most part, it seems like it wants to come out with a little bit of force. So I'm gonna scrape this and hopefully not stab myself in the process. I think I might run around the edge with the razor blade and see if I can just clean it up a little bit with the razor blade first. That's working a little bit. So far it's just patience and brute force. This flat blade screwdriver fits down in here in the groove, nice and straight. That's it. Got no tricks for you on this one. After scraping for the last 45 minutes, I'm going to use this little wire brush Dremel thingy to see if I can't clean this up a little bit better. I really want these corners clean so the screws have good engagement, they pull in tight. Well, with our groove all cleaned out, taking a peek here, everything looks good. I've cleaned the inside of our lens, cleaned the inside of this guy multiple times. I'm going to hit it with some compressed air at least one more time. I already screwed in this top piece here. Next you got to screw in your bottom piece. Man, this plastic dust, relentless. I turn around, there's more of it. Guess it helps if I put this in the right direction. Damn it, there's more plastic. These are those safety T15s. Man, it would be great if you could get this off, or if these were attached to the housing and not to this. It's a little unnerving listening to these screw in here. I'm gonna go ahead and fight with this and join back up with you in just a minute. Going to be cleaner than it was in the car. Okay, that's all my screws. So here's what I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using 3M window weld ribbon sealer. This is just like the stuff I believe that you can get from the retrofit source. So I had it. Rather than ordering any from them, they offer black or gray. Thought, well, I'll give it a shot. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pop this guy in the oven after I get the sealant in there to warm it up. That way, when I throw the lens on there, hopefully it'll suck in there nice and tight. This was 5/16 bead, and it fits this groove perfectly with the flat profile from being in this roll in between the rails here, and it's dropping in there like it was designed for this, and it's completely filling the gap. So when I heat this up and then stick the lens on there, I'm feeling pretty good about it. Well, it fills the whole void. No chance liquid's getting through there. Okay, gave it a couple minutes in the oven. Housing's nice and warm. Hopefully I don't regret taking those gloves off. I'm gonna try to line up all these little tabs. Ow, ow, ow. Yep, there's that regret. Squeeze it in slowly. Make sure our insides are all lining up. Okay, let's see if we can get a screw in there. We're definitely not tight enough yet. It's hot on my belly. Little sticky still. Boy, is it close though. Everything's lined up inside here. Round 3. This whole sucker is hot now. Oh, I almost got one right here. There's one. There's 2. 3. There it is. These 2 were right there. Yep, right there. Yep. Pretty happy with that. Took that bad boy out. Clear as this noon sunny sky. I'll take care of that. All right, let that cool down. So I'm definitely recognizing that this repair is gonna be a more of, hey, here's what I did, hope you can find something out of it, than more specifically a tutorial. None of this wants to go together the way I think it should. I already have the headlight all reassembled. I got all the modules reattached underneath and the bulbs put back in. I wanna get this bracket back in that I took off, but it has a hook, big bolt down here. You gotta really twist and pry and get all this stuff in here to get it to line back up. But you can't do that if the headlight's not in, because the headlight won't go in if this is in the way. And holy mackerel. I don't know if I needed to take more stuff apart or what up there, but this is getting to be a bit of a wiggly biggly here. So maybe I will pop the headlight in, then try to get this in, because I want to get this all put together so that I can test it before like locking it down. I will say though, headlight looks great. I'm happy with that. So to go back in, we're gonna kind of shoot up from the corner, get up and past those brackets, up into that corner, rotate and twist and pretend that everything looks great, and twist again, and then up, we're into the corner. Okay, I'm gonna throw a screw in this bottom corner and up in the top just to get things started, and more because I don't want it to fall out on me. Well, it's looking great already. I mean, it may be a pain in the butt, but that sure looks nice. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get the bracket in with the headlight in place entirely, so let's see. Everything needs to get pulled out for these bucket here, for this bucket to line up. Headlight is most definitely in the way. On a positive note, the headlight almost helps force this into the right direction. Well, I didn't get it on camera. I had to enlist the help of one of my sons to pull on the fender, to pull on that upper big bracket, get the bracket in there, and then wrench on the fender, try to slide the headlight in there. It's in. Let's plug it in and make sure everything works. I'm gonna be really sad if something doesn't work. Okie dokie, key on. Whoops. Did I just lock it or unlock it? What did I do? Should have halos. Okay, we have halos, turn signal, xenon, and high beam. Cool, lights turn on, winning. Well, at this stage, we've really covered the important part, the lens. So I'm gonna rip this guy back together pretty quickly, and then we'll take a look at fitment and finish in just a minute. Well, I would say that the headlight is a success. I've been driving for a couple of days and my side-to-side movement, up and down movement all work. I did have to adjust the height using the innermost adjuster that adjusts up and down. The left and right or lateral adjustment has a little cap on it. You shouldn't need to do that one. The height adjustment is probably what you're going to have to do. And the way that I did that is I just lined it up on my garage door and I adjusted the passenger side slightly higher than the driver's side, since you want the throw a little bit further for passengers or people, pedestrians. Those were words I was looking for. So is this a DIY project? Yeah, it is. Is it tough? Yeah. Is it hard? No, it's more time consuming than anything. And trying to get the lens off, it's just tedious at best. At worst, I mean, what are you gonna say? It takes a while to get done. Do you need an oven in your shop or your garage to do this? No, you could use the oven in the house as long as your wife doesn't know. Or you could use a heat gun. One really good tip that I've seen online is to take a large box, cut a hole in it, and then poke your heat gun in the side. Don't catch the box on fire. And let that box heat up from the inside from that heat gun, and that will heat your lens up. These lenses are supposed to be permanently glued on, so you're not supposed to be able to take them apart, but this is something that we've had to figure out so we don't have to buy $1,000 or plus headlights for these cars. I would do it again. I would love to sell this car eventually and get an X5M. I think that that would be a really fun project, another E70, and I think that the content would be great on the channel. I thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, hook yourself up with some merch, help out the channel, do what you can. Really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.